world. We're living in a toxic world. We're surrounded by these toxins, and that's what we're focusing on tonight, is identifying these unseen interferences in your health, okay? Because you got to remember, right, we're all created to be healthy, right? You guys understand that? You were created to be healthy. You weren't created for sickness and disease. You were created for health and abundance. And so if you're not getting that, then we have to find out what's interfering with it. Does that make sense? So that's the good news, is that the answer to any problem that you walked in here with today is already inside of you, okay? It's the 5 essentials of maximized living. So, quiz for you guys, right? What are the 5 essentials? Number 1?
Spinal health.
That's number 2, but that's fine. We'll catch them out of order.
Yeah.
Number 1 is max mind. Yep,
Okay.
max mind. So you gotta create a healthy mindset, okay? And that's not just stress and time management, okay? That's actually completely changing your outlook on life. You're having a positive outlook. You're not blaming the world for your situations. You're taking responsibility for what's going on in your life. And you have a big reason why, a purpose that you're living for. That's all in your mindset up here. And it's truly understanding what health is and where it comes from. And so that's why we do these classes here, so that you can understand that better, because that's essential number 1. Okay, essential number 2, you guys already said, clear nerve system, right? Your brain, your spinal cord runs and controls the function of every single cell inside your body. If that's not functioning right, then nothing's functioning right, okay? Number 3 is nutrition, very good. Max nutrients into your body, okay? We all know we have to eat healthy. You can't feed your body junk, because if you feed, you are what you eat, right? So if you eat junk, you're going to be junk. Yes, thank you. Number 4 is, essential number 4? Exercise, yes. So it's maximum oxygen delivery into every single part of your cells, okay? Every single one of your cells. Maximum oxygen delivery, maximum lean muscles. We know that the fitter you are, that the healthier you are, and the longer you're going to live, okay? And now essential number 5 is minimize toxins. Very good, okay. So that's what we're focusing on today. And if one of those isn't working right, then that's interference into your health, okay? You're created for health. You were born to be healthy. So all we have to do is find out what's stopping you from being healthy. And so these aren't 5 good ideas, okay, because just because it's essential number 5 does not mean it's not important, okay? They're all essential. You have to be addressing them all to be healthy. If you're not addressing any one of them, then that's the reason why you're not getting the results that you need, okay? So we're going to focus in on essential number 5, toxicity. And, you know, you saw we have this onslaught of chemicals going on right now like we've never seen before. The vast majority of the chemicals that we have in our every single day life weren't even in existence 70 years ago. Okay, they weren't in existence. We didn't ever see them. And so what do we see as a result of that? We're seeing more sickness, more disease, and in skyrocketing rates because of the toxicity. Okay, because of the toxicity. And you know, like the video said there, is how we have these tens of thousands of chemicals, and only about 500 of them have even been researched for their effects on humans. Okay, and so you have to realize, just like it was saying, you guys, we are the experiment. We are the experiment. We're the ones that's like, okay, let's see, our people are still sick and dying, so I guess we're going to change the recommended dosage from this to this. And you guys understand, like, that the things that they allow in the water supply, they change that. They change it, and we're talking like parts per billion. That's how little bit, and they're finding that it's still causing cancer, killing people, and they keep reducing those levels because of the toxic onslaught on our bodies today. But you know what? I really don't need to wait for the research study to come out. I really don't need to find out that this causes cancer or anything like that, because you know what? We've already been told. Those of you that have been coming to the office here, you've seen the Bible verse we have up there in 1 Corinthians. It says, "You realize, don't you, that you are the temple of God, and God himself is present in you. No one will get by with vandalizing God's temple. You can be sure of that. God's temple is sacred, and you, remember, are the temple." You are the temple. So we've already been told, right, you don't put junk in here because God will end you. And so, I mean, when we start to see the rise of these diseases, the poor quality of life, the early deaths and everything, we've already been forewarned about that happening. We know it's going to happen. because you can't dump poison into your body and expect to be healthy. It just doesn't work that way. Okay, that is a law in health. You can't poison your way into better health. Okay, so but we live in a toxic world, and it keeps increasing generation to generation, and they're finding like all these toxins in utero and stuff now too. It just keeps going up and going up. So right now they're finding 200 plus different chemicals inside of the average American's blood and urine. Okay, so a couple people have asked me, well, can we get the toxins tested and stuff? And yeah, there's blood and urine tests that you can do for toxicity profiles. But to be honest, you probably don't need it, because I can tell you right now that, based on the things that you're doing, that's why we have toxicity assessment there. Based on the things that you're doing, I can tell you right now, yes, you are toxic. You are toxic. So if you're using the commercial products, if you're still eating conventional foods, if you're using medications, you're still toxic. You're toxic, okay? So you don't necessarily have to get it tested like that. And so it's creating this disease. We're seeing obesity. So how does toxicity affect obesity? Where's the toxins stored in your body? You guys know?
Fat.
In your fat cells. Yeah, that's a deposit site for those toxins. It stores it in there. So a lot of people, when they have plateaus in their weight loss and they can't lose any more, a lot of times it's because they're so toxic. Because if they dump the fat, then their body wouldn't have any safe place to store the toxins, and so it would go into like the brain and deposit there and kill you. And so your body's smart. It's saying, we can't let go of this fat because it will kill you if we do. So obesity is a huge problem. We're seeing that it's tripled since 1980. Autism is specifically a neurotoxic disorder. And there can be some predispositions towards that, but toxins are the trigger. A lot of times we're seeing in vaccines and different things like that, but overall it's toxins that are going to be the trigger that make that switch, and it's a neurotoxic problem. So what do we see when we start to detoxify these kids? They start to do better. The symptoms and stuff start to improve. They start to see the quality of their life improve. And so it's a neurotoxic disorder. But you look at this now, 9.6 million children now taking psychotropic drugs. Right? Because now when we get the ADD and the ADHD being caused by the underlying toxins, instead of addressing that, what do? We medicate them, we give them more toxins. And it's more toxins into their life, and there's more interference to them expressing the life that God gave them inside of them. They can't be themselves. They're trapped. Insomnia, we have asthma going on. It has a whole history of toxicity relation. Hormone and thyroid diseases, okay? So one of the things I want to explain to you guys is a little bit of the biochemistry about how toxins create disease inside your body, okay? Because it's important to understand that. And so basically the way it's going to do, because there's lots of different toxins, but they pretty much all will interact and cause disease the same way, okay? And there's two things with that. One is by creating free radicals, okay? So flashback to chemistry. So you got an atom, right? And you have protons, electrons, and neutrons in there, okay? And so when it's good, everything should be neutral. Electrons and protons should equal each other, okay? But what happens is toxins come in and they flick out one of those electrons, and it now has a net positive charge, okay? That is a free radical, and it's highly, highly reactive inside your body. It is directly searching for something to interact with so it can get another electron. Does that make sense? So it wants to be neutral, so it'll do that, and it's highly reactive. So that's a free radical. So what it does is it goes into your body and it causes oxidative stress. Free radicals cause oxidative stress. And so to give you a visual of what that looks like, when you cut an apple open, or you like open a banana, and a little bit they're turning brown like almost right away, that's oxidative stress, okay? So that's what happens inside of your body when you have free radicals in there, okay? You have oxidative stress. Now, God knew about these things, okay? Remember, you were created with intelligence and with a plan and a purpose. And so that's why we have antioxidants, is to combat those reactions, to neutralize the free radicals, to undo some of the damage that they do to the tissues. So you have antioxidants that come in there, repair, and neutralize the free radicals, okay? So, but those free radicals, they come in there and cause that oxidative stress. So if you didn't have antioxidants, if you didn't have proper function and control in communication inside your body, then you would have that apple turning brown process going on inside your body all the time, constantly. Okay, so you have to have more antioxidants coming in than you have free radicals. So you need to minimize toxic exposure, you need to increase antioxidants in communication inside your body. Okay, the other thing that it does is you'll see stuff about hormone disruption. So hormones are your chemical communicators inside your body, and you have these hormones that'll come through, they'll attach onto a cell, they'll go into a cell, and they'll attach to a receptor, and then it tells your body different things about the genes that should express, and it'll activate, deactivate certain genes, and then you'll turn around and that cell will make or not make certain proteins and things like that. And so that's what hormones do for you. Toxins come in, they interact with those same receptors, and they change that signal. And so we're getting changes in the DNA expression, we're getting, the cell starts functioning poorly because of the toxins in there. It's doing things that it's not supposed to be doing. The other thing though is that overloads those receptors so that if your body does send the hormones in there, it can't react because the receptors are already being taken. Does that make sense? So those are the main ways that these toxins are creating disease inside your body. Okay, these chemical toxins, they're reacting like that inside your body. So in order to really do something about this, we have to understand the sources of the toxins. We're going to be talking about this. So you have ones from outside the body, that's where the majority are coming from, but then you also have ones inside your body. So these ones from the outside can get in there, and then by metabolic process inside your body, you get like these byproducts when dealing with those outside toxins. You get byproducts that then create more toxins. Okay? So we're going to go through these each one by one. Prescriptions. Americans are taking about 4 billion prescriptions every single year. 4 billion prescriptions every single year. It is a huge, profitable industry. It's a mega industry in the U.S. here, and but it's all toxic. It's the #1 source of toxins. Environmental. There's about 70,000 chemicals approved for use in our daily lives. Okay, our personal care items, our clothes, building materials, on down the line, 70,000 chemicals being used in our everyday life. Agriculture, different things like that. Dietary, 3,000 food additives are approved by the FDA for direct use in our food. You can just directly use it in there. Then there's another about 10,000 that are approved for use in food processing. So another 10,000 approved for use in food processing. And the dangerous fat-soluble toxins, so we're going to find out like fat is actually being looked at more as its own separate organ because of how it interacts with toxins, your visceral fat. So, Frankenfood, I cover this a little bit more in the nutrition stuff, so I don't go too deeply into it here, but like I just said, the FDA has approved 3,000 artificial food additives, preservatives, and colorings, so that right now the average person over the course of a year is ingesting somewhere between 140 and 150 pounds of this garbage, of this toxic waste. You're ingesting all that, and your body it's taxing your body, okay? It has to process it or store it, okay? Process it and eliminate it or store it. It has to do one of the two, right? So you're either holding on to those toxins and creating disease, or you're processing them out, right? So, and what do you do about that then? So that's where obviously buying organic as absolutely much as possible, okay? Because buying organic, you're avoiding most of that toxic exposure, you're avoiding all that. You're going to get healthy, clean food that didn't use pesticides and herbicides and stuff, and all those things in there. But you still need to check the ingredient labels, okay? Because there's, the food companies, they lobby this stuff and they get things put into there that shouldn't be in there still, okay? The FDA is not there to protect you, it's to protect the food and drug companies. You guys understand that? Like, when the food or drug company is asked about these chemicals that they're putting in there, their reps will directly publicly announce and say, my job isn't to, a representative from Monsanto said this, he said, my job isn't to determine if my product is safe, that's the FDA's job. My job is to sell as much seed as possible. That's what they said. They publicly announced that. Because the FDA has now taken the burden off of those companies and has put it on the government, right? So the company says, we're not responsible, the FDA is responsible. They're not here to, the FDA is not here to protect you, they're there to protect those companies and the profits that they're making. At the very least though, you know, obviously buying real food can be a shock on your food bill. If you're used to spending and getting this processed garbage all the time, you know, it can mean a small increase on the food bill. But honestly, when you stop buying like the potato chips and the soda and all that garbage all the time, because that stuff is just toxic waste for your body, guess what you have more money to buy? Actual real food, right? So, and you know, honestly, I would say, you know, sometimes it may be cheaper to feed your family in a newspaper, but at a certain point you're not even having real food anymore. Does that make sense? So you have to buy real food, and just realizing that this is what real food actually costs. So at the very minimum though, looking at following the 30 dozen to clean 15 rule. Okay, so that's in the nutrition book. If you guys don't have it yet, that's pretty much a must-have resource for your health. But it has the dirty dozen for pesticide loads. So those would be the most important, obviously, to buy organically. And then the clean 15, okay, the ones that are, you know, typically it's something that's encased in a shell or something kind of protected from the pesticides. And so you don't get as much exposure when you get those conventionally. So you can find the most up-to-date list as well for free, foodnews.org. So. Environmental toxins. So according to EPA, our indoor environment is actually 2 to 5 times more toxic than the outdoor environment. Our indoor environments now, right? Because we burn incense and candles all the time, in our carpets, in our beds, we have flame retardants all over the place in our furniture. We're breathing that garbage in all the time, and it's all linked back to oxidative stress, which leads to cancer and heart disease every single time. Every single time. Indoor air measurements have been found to be 100 times more polluted. That's why the EPA has found this out to be. Inside is more toxic than outside, right? So, first of all, for detoxing, one of the biggest things you do is open a window, okay? Open a window, let fresh air come in, let bad air go out, and let the air cycle through. And with that right there, you can actually start to detoxify. It's a small step to take towards detoxifying your house. But we're going to show you at a deeper level how to identify these toxins so that you're not putting more into your house anymore, okay? So the toxic top 5, medications, household products, Teflon, tap water, mold, and biotoxins. So number 1, medications. Medications, like I said, 4 billion every single year. Medications are now the #1 cause of toxicity. #1 cause of toxicity. Okay, just, you know, just normal expected deaths from taking prescription medications right now in the U.S. is over 100,000 every single year. That's not taking like wrong dosages, that's not overdosing, that's not purposely trying to commit suicide, that's not your kid getting into your medications, that's taking the right drug, prescribed at the right amount, given for the right reasons, over 100,000 people dying every single year, which makes that alone about the 4th leading cause of death in the U.S. So these once thought to be miracle cures now proving to cause death. Vioxx, you guys have never heard about Vioxx? It was back right around the turn of the century, or millennium, I mean, century too, I guess. But it was only on market for about 4 years. FDA ended up pulling it off the market because it killed an estimated 84,000 people just in 4 years. That one medication, that one drug, mostly due to heart attack. And it was a painkiller. People were going in for an ache or a pain. They're given this drug, and then they die of a heart attack. And people are dying left and right. Avandia is for type 2 diabetes. It's been in the news a lot lately. I don't know if you've followed this stuff with GlaxoSmithKline. That's the manufacturer, the maker of Avandia. And it was actually part of the largest settlement in the history of all the drug companies. $3 billion lawsuit settlement due to, largely because of the Vandia, because New England Journal of Medicine, again, found it actually increases the chance of heart attack by 64%. Not only that, but some of their other drugs are being prescribed for off-label purposes. And so GlaxoSmithKline was fined $3 billion as a result of that, which is the largest in all history. But honestly, when you have a single drug like $36 billion drug, I mean, it's in their marketing budget. You guys realize that? Like, they actually put the lawsuit money in there as part of their marketing budget. It's just like, yeah, we got that money in the budget already. We're just going to pay it. Like, that's nothing to them. Even though, like, that's a huge amount of money, it's nothing to them, really. Nothing more than a slap on the wrist. Hormone replacement therapies, thought it was going to be the cure for everything, and now we find out it causes cancer. It causes more cancers faster than anything else. So, Paxils and different antidepressants and things like that. We now look, the most common prescription drug sold is antidepressants now. In all, about 1 in 5 Americans are now taking an antidepressant. 1 in 5, or some type of psychiatric drug. Some type of psychiatric drug, 1 in 5 Americans now taking those. And you look at this, it's highly, highly marketed to the kids, because once you get on this garbage, you take it for how long? Forever. The rest of your life, usually. You get addicted to it. And like, people try and come off of these things, and they find that they can't cope with life anymore. They're that addicted to it. And it's just terrible, terrible. So if they can get them addicted when they're a kid, guess what? They have a customer for life. They have a customer for life now. So if you ever hear like the teachers and stuff saying, hey, your kid should be on Ritalin, that's not the teacher's job to say that. You guys understand that? You know why the teachers do that? You know why the school district does that? They get more money for having more special needs kids, right? If they have more hyperactive kids, then they can classify them as special needs. They get more money into their school district. Don't let them tell you that garbage. Don't let them let them tell you that. What are the side effects now? Side effects include increased risk of suicide, which is, you know, it's an antidepressant. They're trying to fight depression, and it's actually making suicide risk worse. Increased risk of suicide and violent outbursts, nausea, insomnia, anxiety, decreased sex drive, fatigue, hormone damage, headaches. The list goes on and on and on. And so when we get these side effects, what's the solution then for those side effects?
More drugs.
More drugs, more poison, more toxicity, more interference in your health, right? If God wanted you to have Paxil and Prozac in your body, He would have created that as part of the normal process and functions of your body. Does that make sense? He didn't forget anything when He made you. He didn't forget the drugs. He didn't forget anything. Everything that you need to be healthy is right inside of you.
Supposedly, all those people involved in school shootings have been on psychotropic drugs.
Yep. The correlation is huge. It's easily over 80%. But almost every single one, they're either on a psychotropic drug or they've recently severely cut their dosage in half. Okay, this actually coming off these things can be dangerous. When you cut that dosage in half, you can start to get weird reactions and stuff like that. So. Absolutely, yeah, all the school shootings, because what does it increase? Suicide, violent outbursts, right? Nightmares, dreams, you start to desensitize, you're numb to feeling, you don't care about whether you live or anybody lives, right? You're just kind of like numb to life, you don't care. So when I talk to people on these things, nobody likes being on them, right? You guys understand that? Nobody likes being on them. I mean, I've had people tell me, you know, it feels like I have 1,000 bricks on my head. You know, like they're trapped. They're trapped on the inside. Household products then. So this is our hidden killer in tons of household products. Diethyl DDA. It's found in over 600 home and personal care products. Your soaps, your lotions, your cosmetics, all your detergents and things like that. It's but it's already found. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, okay, they announced it's been found to cause cancer in animal studies. Okay, so if it causes cancer in animal studies, I don't need to wait for the human study. It causes cancer in humans too. Okay, so this is a big one to watch out for. DEA. So you need to read the labels and see if this garbage is in there. If it's in there, you got it. You can't get it. Just find different healthy replacement. And as a good rule of thumb is that if you can't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it on your skin. If you can't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it on your skin, because anything you put on your skin has a chance of getting directly into your bloodstream. Okay? When you eat it, it can actually be safer to eat, because when you eat it, you actually have other barriers in place as well to detoxify before it actually gets into the bloodstream. When you rub it into your skin creates a barrier, but there's a chance that some of that will, any of that could get into the bloodstream, and it goes directly in. Propylene glycol, so that may sound familiar because it's actually antifreeze, right? Propylene ethylene glycol. It's found in antifreeze and hydraulic fuelers, but lo and behold, it's also in a lot of childhood vaccines. So you put this in the vaccines and things like that. In your toothpaste, your shampoos, deodorants, lotions, processed foods, so that's another one you gotta watch out for. Propylene glycol in your household goods. Propylene glycol. And this is just on the material safety data sheet that for propylene glycol, linked to kidney damage, liver abnormalities, skin cell growth inhibition, damaged cell membranes, also known as cancer, immune system problems, and it shuts down your nerve system as well. Okay, so that's just from the MSDS on propylene glycol. It causes all those things. So if you'd like to not brush your teeth with antifreeze and degreaser and things like that, you know, there's better solutions out there. You can get natural solutions. I'm going to show you that in just a second here. Sodium lauryl sulfate's a degreaser. It's used in just about every single soap and shampoo. It's what really gives it a good sudsiness to it, so it's used in a lot of them on the market today. And it's linked to heart, liver, lung, and brain problems, and that's according to the Journal of the American College of Toxicology. So, and look at this, I mean, that was back in 1983, and we're still using it today. We've known that these things cause problems. And that's the thing, it's like, you start to look at this stuff, and you hear the government, like, talking out of both ends, like they're saying, yep, this is extremely toxic, we know it, but we're going to let this in your products and your vaccinations and in your food and stuff. So, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Money talks.
Yeah, money talks, right. Well, and that's exactly what it is, right? Because you know, these companies and stuff, they have billions of dollars in interest at stake here, and so the first thing that's going to be bought is the legislators. Okay, that's the first thing that's going to be bought is the legislators. They're controlling these things, so and controlling these decisions. So, like I was saying, if you don't want to brush your teeth with antifreeze or degreasers or anything like that, there's sources for finding other healthy sources, right? So one of them that I use is healthychild.org. Healthychild.org, okay? So if you go on here, healthychild.org, click on Live Healthy, click on Shop Healthy, and then you can go to Household and Cleaning, and you can go through and find safer alternatives, okay? Another site is the Environmental Working Group. Environmental Working Group. They have a searchable database that you can look for, and you can just type in toothpaste, and they'll give you different ratings on the toxicity level. So you can do that. For me, locally, a lot of stuff I actually will make, or else Lakewinds has a lot of great natural options, your co-ops and things like that. So we get a lot of our stuff from Lakewinds, and then we make some of our stuff as well. So, which, by the way, what we're doing for our recipe night, we're doing a different one. We've never done one like this. It's not food. What we're going to do is we're going to have samples. We're going to show you and give you recipes and stuff for healthy home good alternatives. Okay, we're going to have some samples out here. We're going to have some representatives in here to be able to teach you more about this stuff and how you can start to replace these things. So make sure you get signed up for that recipe night. We just put it out tonight. That's going to be Monday, June 16th, right after the adjusting hours again. So different from the usual ones where everybody's bringing food and sharing their food. We're actually, you don't have to bring anything, just bring yourself, and we're going to give you some samples. We're going to show you some of that stuff. So those two things, healthychild.org and Environmental Working Group. Those are two great resources for checking how toxic the things that you are using are, and also for finding safer alternatives. Next we have Teflon. So a lot of people I think have heard Teflon's bad for you by now. Most people have. But a lot of us are still using it, okay? And that's a big problem. You have to go home tonight and throw that garbage away in the garbage where it belongs. So it's linked to childhood development problems, which is all your ADD, ADHDs, your autism, stuff like that. So mom's cooking with that, and it goes into her body, gets into the baby in utero, or else the baby starts eating, and they're eating this garbage, and it builds toxins inside of their body. It's linked to liver, pancreas, testicular, mammary gland tumors, all types of different thyroid hormone function disruption, and it's predicted to be banned in the U.S. here in 2015. So I don't know why you would wait. Go home and throw it in the garbage. It needs to go in the garbage tonight. Tonight you get rid of it. And there's different class action lawsuits already in play. It's banned in a lot of other countries too. Like the U.S. is one of the last ones to get rid of it. It's banned in most countries. And so, like I said, don't wait for the ban to take place. And that's things like class action lawsuit, and that's good and stuff, but that can actually be, with our sue happy culture here in the U.S., that can actually be a problem to getting rid of some of this stuff. Because sometimes the government will try and play denial and stuff like that, and the companies will deny, because if they admit that it causes all these health problems, guess what they have? They have all these huge lawsuits that come out of the woodwork from them. And so the class action lawsuits, while yes, they're necessary, they're good, it can actually be a prevention too, to actually making progress to getting these officially banned. So slows down the process. Water is, if you're drinking unfiltered tap water, is a huge source of toxicity. Huge source of toxicity. They're now finding medications in the tap water. In our running water, they're finding medications, they're finding artificial sweeteners. All those toxins are getting into our water supply. But aside from that, in the treatment plants themselves, then they're adding chlorine and fluoride into it. So chlorine is toxic enough on its own. Okay, remember back in chemistry class, we were doing an experiment. We had some chlorine or something like that, and the chemistry professor was like warning us about how toxic it is, especially in its gas form and stuff. And he's like, so if you see any green gas, he's like, if I see green gas, I probably won't even say anything. I'll just be running out the door. So good note is that if you see me bolting out the door, just get up and leave. So that's how toxic it is, though. He's like, you'd just be gone. But what happens then as well is it actually reacts in the water to produce chloroform and trihalomethanes, which are both been known to cause cancer and then to oxidize cholesterol, okay? Which is actually the major cause of heart disease, right? So you guys understand cholesterol does not cause heart disease. That's been proven, right? You're actually more likely to die of heart disease now with normal cholesterol levels rather than elevated, okay? It's not cholesterol that causes heart disease, it's the oxidation of that cholesterol that creates the plaquing and the problems inside of it. Okay? So here, those have been found to oxidize the cholesterol. So, and cause the heart disease. So the other thing is fluoride. Fluoride is huge carcinogenic properties. It's listed by the National Cancer Institute as a known carcinogen, and it's thought to prevent tooth decay. So that's supposedly the reason why we put it into the water supply. But that's been completely refuted time and time again by the World Health Organization. And we can chart this actually in countries that never added any fluoride to their water supply, and then compare it to ours, and the tooth decay rates were dropping the same. It wasn't the fluoride that was making the difference, okay? So fluoride does not prevent tooth decay. You have to realize that. It does not do that. It's been banned in many European countries, but it's still in our water supply here. Okay, and it really, when you start to look at the effects of this fluoride, Dean Burke from the National Cancer Institute, he says, he's been quoted as saying, nothing causes more human cancers and causes it faster than fluoride. That's what he's saying from the National Cancer Institute. That's how potent it is. It's a complete toxin. So when you get that fluoride inside your body, so first of all, there's no dental benefit whatsoever to ingesting it. Okay, none whatsoever. So you don't need to ingest it. Okay, so you ingest it. What happens is 50% of it gets processed and taken outside of your body. The other 50% gets stored in your bone, where it has a half-life of 25 years. A half-life of 25 years. It starts to build in there. And when you get fluoride build up inside your bones, they become weak and brittle, and it looks like degeneration. Actually, when you look at it on an X-ray or something, it looks like degeneration. When you see people with the white spots on their teeth and like crooked teeth and stuff, like the jagged edges, a lot of times that's actually too much fluoride that they've been exposed to. It's called dental fluoridosis, and it's a very real problem in a lot of kids nowadays because we're getting overexposed. So, U.S. EPA reports that cancer risk for people who drink chlorinated water are 93% higher than people who don't. 93% higher. So that's a huge problem. The other thing on the fluoride too is it reduces IQ. It reduces IQ. This is where you can get into some conspiracy theories because it really kind of makes you wonder, like, why are we putting this stuff in there? So, by the way, we don't put fluoride in our water. Did you guys know that? It's not pharmaceutical fluoride. What we actually put into the water is hydrosalicylic acid, and which is a waste product of the fertilizer industry. It's a waste product. So when they say we're fluoridating the water, you're not actually getting fluoride in there. Did you guys know that? It's a toxic waste from the fluoride, or the fertilizing industry. So that if a truck driving down the road carrying that stuff was to topple over and spill that, it would be an environmental emergency. They'd shut down the entire area. It's so highly toxic. But for some reason, it's magically okay then when we leach it into our water at 1 part per million. Never been proven safe, ever. By the way, Hitler used to use fluoride in his concentration camps. And I doubt it was because he cared about their dental health, okay? He was putting it in there because it was known to dumb down the IQs, you know, make them toxic and kill them. The other thing about water is in the shower then, because this is actually where one of the places where you get the worst exposure, is because when you're sitting in the shower there and you're sitting there and the steam starts coming up and you're just like breathing in and soaking in this water, you're getting in from several different avenues. Skin exposure, inhaling, and you're going to end up drinking a little bit as well, you know. So you expose yourself to 25 gallons of water when you shower. So if your skin is repelling 75% of all the chemicals in that water, that leaves 25% that make their way in. So a 15-minute shower is equivalent to drinking 8 glasses of polluted water, right? So this is huge. You got to get the shower filters. You got to get the shower filters in there, or a whole house filtration system. But we're in an apartment right now, so what we do is we bought shower head filters. They're not that expensive, and you'll save 100 times that in your medical bills. So the steam of a hot shower releases gases, including the chloroform and the trichloromethane. Okay, both the carcinogens. So that's happening when you take that shower. So what do you do about water otherwise? Well, you can get different filtrations. Reverse osmosis is pretty good. Whole house filtration systems are great as well. What we do for us is we go down to Miller's Spring and we get spring water. You get all the minerals in there as well that you need. So, and it's free. Okay, you don't have to pay for it. You just bring your jugs down there. So we've got some BPA-free jugs from Lakewinds. We go down there about once a week, once every other week, and fill up our jugs, come back, and then that's what we use for our cooking and our drinking. That's what we're doing. So we're minimizing our exposure there. The other one is mold and biotoxins. So your primary source of biotoxicity is going to come from mold. So if you have mold or mildew, water stains or anything like that, okay, that's mold that's living in there. If it's living in your house, it's living in you. Okay, if it's living in your bathroom, in your tubs, it's living inside of you. Okay, it'll come from leaky sinks, pipes, waters, damaged basements and ceilings, or carpets. It's a lot of times due to poor HVAC systems as well. It's a huge source of it. So if you got that going on, you got to find the cause and you got to get rid of it. Okay? It's living in your house, it's living inside you. And the big thing about it is it's neurotoxic. It'll be neurotoxic to you. Okay? The other thing I wanted to add in here was I want to talk a little bit about mercury. So mercury is the second most toxic known substance on this planet. Second most toxic known substance on this planet. It's linked to pretty much every single disease through those same oxidative stress things I was talking about. Heart disease, cancers, all those things, neurotoxic diseases. But we put it in our vaccines still. It's been recommended by the CDC and stuff to take it out, but they can still get away with it. So it's still in several vaccines as thimerosal. But then another huge source of it will be in your silver fillings. Okay, your silver amalgam fillings. They're not silver. What are they? They're 50% what? Mercury. Yep. So they're only about 25% silver. The other 50% of them is actually mercury. And we found that it actually can inside your mouth, if you have them in there still, if you've gotten them, they constantly, continually are leaching mercury into there. Especially if you have hot liquids and stuff that you're getting, it leaches mercury. So I have a video here. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So it's a huge problem, right? And that leaching just continually happens. It's so close to your brain, and it gets into your brain, causes neurotoxicity, causes all sorts of disorders. You know, and we know how toxic mercury is. I mean, if it's now standard protocol, if a mercury thermometer breaks in a school building or a lab, they clear out the entire level of that. They clear out the whole place, and hazmat comes in and they detoxify everything, right? That's how toxic it is, you know? So just because you used to play with it when you were a kid does not mean it's safe, okay? That was a bad idea. It's extremely toxic, and we know that. We know that. So if you have the amalgam fillings in there, you got to get them out, okay? Never let the dentist put that in there, no matter what they say. Never let them put it in there. I don't care if it's cheaper filling or whatever. Do not get it done. You have to get it, and you can get them removed, okay? So but make sure that if you get them removed, you're doing it by a holistic dentist, okay? Somebody that is actually going to pay attention to toxicity, is going to tell you and admit that, yes, this is a huge problem, okay? Because there's a lot of dentists out there that will deny that it's actually a problem to have those in your mouth that causes any type of health problem. but they'll still remove them for you, okay? You don't want them removed by that person, okay? They don't care. They don't think that they need to care. So go to somebody that actually cares about the toxicity of it. Because there should be before and after protocols to detoxifying your body, okay? Because otherwise, during the removal process, there's a chance for it to actually escape into your body and leach out to the rest of your system. So, hopefully you guys are starting to see ways that you can start to avoid a lot of these toxins. The big toxic top 5, or 6 there, I guess, with the mercury amalgams and stuff. And ways that you can start to avoid these sources of toxicity in your life. But on top of that now, since most of the saying here are toxic, okay, as you start to avoid them, your body has natural detoxification channels in place that's going to start to detoxify it. We're going to show you how to enhance that as well. Okay, so your 7 detox channels: skin, lungs, colon, kidneys, liver, lymphatic system. And this is the fat cells, remember, too, because your visceral fat, like I said, is starting to be viewed more as a separate organ inside your body because of how it functions, especially in the place of storing the toxins to keep them from planting in other places. So, and we have pictures for everyone. Good deal. So, intracellular detox, you really have to get down to a cellular level. Most of the detox programs out there, they're not looking at it at a cellular level. They're really just kind of like a colon flush for you, which, you know, there's benefits to that, but it's not really getting to a cellular level there and digging deep. So detoxification needs to happen at a cellular level, okay? So, because toxicity happens at a cellular level, okay? So you're going to balance the internal cellular environment. You're going to allow for that proper nutrient absorption and excretion. When you have a highly toxic cell, the cell membranes are very, very disrupted, okay? So that's that oxidative stress will actually come in there and it'll tear apart the cell membrane. And you don't get proper toxin and nutrient exchange. So the toxins get trapped inside the cell, and the nutrients, and they can't get out, and then the nutrients can't get in when you have a highly toxic cell. So you need to facilitate that. Your main detoxifications in the body are glutathione, catalase, and superoxide dismutase. Those are your primary antioxidant enzymes inside your body, okay? Your primary ways of intracellular detoxification. So glutathione is really your body's natural defender, and it's your #1 natural antioxidant. So the building blocks of glutathione are cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid. It's found in a lot of sulfur-rich compounds. Glutathione, vitamin U, cultured dairy proteins, and whey proteins have the building blocks of those to make that glutathione, okay? Because if you just take straight glutathione, your body doesn't really absorb that very well. And so what you need to do to build up your glutathione levels is get the precursors to that. And then your body can build more of it and detoxify. And then extracellular detoxification. So once you get the toxins pulled out of the cell, so you want to look at ways to boost those glutathione levels. So I'll show you that. Once you get the toxins outside of the cells, then you need to bind them so that your body will safely remove them and get them out so it doesn't just replant in another tissue, right? And that's very, very important. It can be a missing link in a lot of people's detoxification program is you're doing one or the other, but you need to do both, okay? So one of the big things here is your detoxification is going to depend a lot on your fluid exchange with your sodium and potassium ratios, okay? So if your sodium levels are really high, it's going to cause you to retain water. And you have a sodium-rich diet typically, so you need to get potassium inside of there. It's going to aid in your toxin elimination. Mainly through your lymphatic system, your colon, your kidneys. Those are your main ways that you're going to dump that stuff out of there. You're going to dump that junk out of there. Your lymph system's going to carry it around, and then it's going to go out through your kidneys or your colon. So 1 gram of sodium holds 11 grams of fluid. That's what I was talking about with that water retention. Your whey protein is a natural source actually of that potassium. So it's going to give you one of your main building blocks for detoxification is found in whey protein. That's why whey protein is why we promote it so much, is because of how it helps in aiding that detoxification. Plus it's your most bioactive protein, bioactive and bioavailable. Meaning when you take in whey protein, your body can start to utilize it within an hour. It does it right away. It actually has already absorbed it and is now using it in cellular processes already in about an hour. So an increase in potassium levels then will flush out the excess sodium and stagnant extracellular fluids from the body. It'll help you to push that stuff out. Okay, so you need more potassium. So your big known toxin removers then, flushing out the toxins, okay? Pure water, not your city water, okay? Because that's going to put more toxins inside your body. So you need pure water. Spring waters are great. And the spring water, by the way, is only as good as the spring it's coming from, obviously. So if it's by industrial things or by a bunch of farmland where it's going to get runoff from pesticides and things like that, that's no good, okay? So you got to make sure it's from a good source as well. Fiber is going to help push those toxins out. Probiotics, we know. Probiotics are so amazing because you guys realize you have more bacteria living inside of you than you do cells that are you. Do you guys know that? It's like 10 times more, okay? You have about 10 times more bacteria and bugs living inside of your gut right now, in your digestive system, than you do cells that are actually you right now. So it's a huge part of actually the function of your body. It's like an organ system of its own, basically. So activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is what's going to actually bind onto those toxins and help you flush them out. So magnesium, citrus essential oils, and potassium. So those are your main known toxin removers. So and it's from this information that we formulated the daily detox solution, the detox system here. And it has both those systems in there. It has the cell detox and it has the body detox in there. So it's not one or the other for you. It's attacking at both systems and helping you remove those. So it cleanses at a cellular level. It builds up, has the natural building blocks for that glutathione. So you're going to build that up, pull the toxins from the cells. And then the body detox has the activated charcoal to grab onto it and pull it out. Okay? So cell detox has your chlorella, your milk thistle, your spirulina, which are your traditional detoxifiers. And then it also has the probiotics and enhanced antioxidant support. The body detox, you need magnesium to help you expel the fluids through there. This isn't like a flushing thing, okay? So you start using this. It's not like you're in the bathroom all day long or anything like that for a week. It's nothing like that. It just kind of helps you flush those out. You know, you may become more regular, and that's about it. So, which is good. You think about, you know, how often do babies go to the bathroom? Every single time that they eat, right? So you should be processing that stuff. You should actually, most people, they're not having enough bowel movements in a day, okay? You should have minimally 1 per day. You should be having more than that, though. If you're not having at least 1, then there's probably something wrong. Either you're not giving the right nerve signals to there, you're not getting the right nutrients in, something's not functioning properly there. You're getting too much toxins in your body, something like that. So, and then protein is the other thing. Remember how the whey protein has the potassium in there. It also has the amino acid, the cysteine, that's the building block for the glutathione. And it's probably the #1 limiting factor, is what it's called, in the building of the glutathione. So the whey protein will actually enhance the detoxification as well. The amino acid cysteine, you have the building block for glutathione. So those are huge. The other thing that I really like for detoxification is a good healthy fat supplement, like a fish oil or something like that. And that's why we have the perfect ratio omega is because, like I was talking about, your cell membrane integrity is so huge. So you get the good fats in there, and you stop that decongestion that happens with all the toxins. That will help combat that, so your cell membranes are healthier, and it will again allow easier exchange of those toxins out and the nutrients in. So those are huge for doing the detoxification. So the biggest part of your detoxification, remember, is your nerve system, right? Because if you have blocked nerves going into your kidneys or your liver, right, they're not going to function right. You're not going to have the exchange of the fluid. You're not going to be able to utilize those nutrients that you're taking in. You're not going to be able to detoxify and use those systems that we just talked about to be able to detoxify. If there's a blocked nerve going into there, it doesn't function correctly. So you can start to do everything else. You can have a perfect diet. You can exercise and be sweating out some of those toxins. You can be taking the best supplements for detoxification. None of that means anything if your nerve system's blocked, right? And you can tell how important something is for you by how long you can go without it, right? Because you can go about a month without your food. So food's obviously important, but the thing is that water ranks above that because you can really only go a few days without water. So water then is more important than food. But then air you can really only go a few minutes without air. So air is more important than both food or water. Air is more important. There's one thing you can't go 1 second without. It's the only thing, and that's your nerve supply, right? Because if I chopped off all the messages coming right there from your brain out to the rest of your body, what happens to you? You die. When do you die?
Immediately.
Immediately. You die immediately. You're dead immediately, right? We all know this because of Christopher Reeves, right? Chris Reeves, he fell off the horse. That's where he smashed his brainstem, and his spinal cord was right up top there, his top cervical vertebra, and everything shut down on him. His heart didn't work, his lungs didn't work, his digestive system didn't work, right? So if I gave Chris Reeves a detox program, would that have fixed Chris Reeves' problems? No, it wouldn't have fixed it, right? Because the problem was in his nerve system, right? So you have to get the nerve system addressed. That's the main thing. And so what happens is you get these blockages inside there called subluxation. The bone can misalign inside there and blocks those nerves, just like in Chris Reeves. Now Chris Reeves, he basically has what's called a massive subluxation, okay? But if you have a misalignment in there, just the same thing's happening to you, it's just at a slower level. So here's the thing for you guys that are patients then, is that what you're doing is working, and we know this. And so what they found is they did these studies here, and this is in senior population ages 65 and older, and they had been under care for at least 5 years, okay? They've been under maintenance care for at least 5 years with chiropractic. And they compared them to healthy citizens of the same age, okay? So this isn't like nursing home citizens of the same age. This is healthy citizens of the same age, people that are considered overall healthy. What they found was that the chiropractic patients spent only 31% of the national average for their health care. So when we look at all these skyrocketing health care costs coming through, right? Right now, Fidelity magazine, they just put it out, the average person is going to need about $250,000 in their retirement plan for their health expenditures that Medicare won't cover. $250,000 on top of what Medicare is not going to cover for you. So if you'd like to save 69% of that, then you guys are on the right track, okay? And so you need to keep up on the chiropractic, and because it's the nerve system. You have fewer medical provider visits, healthier habits in general. And 98.5% actually believe that it was because of the chiropractic care that they were getting these amazing results in their health. 98.5%. Outwardly, they were saying, yes, it's the chiropractic that's doing it. They also found that they had fewer hospital admissions, less outpatient surgeries. Look at this, 85% less pharmaceutical costs, right? So when we're talking about medications being the #1 source of toxicity in America right now, right? If you want to eliminate that, we talk about too how evil the drug companies are, and they're just greedy for profits, and that's all that they want, and they're buying our legislators, okay? This is how we put them out of business. this is how we put them out of business, is we do this. You take control of your health. So case study, this is Beth. She comes in, heart disease, diabetes, polycystic ovarian disease. She had a loss of curve and no life able to get through there. Okay, so she started the advanced nutrition plan, started getting adjusted 3 times a week. She lost 29 pounds, started the detoxification program, and has now reversed her heart disease. She's off all of her diabetes drugs and reversed her polycystic ovarian disease. Because why? You know, it's not because of the adjustment. Okay, did you guys read? You guys like? If you guys saw the newsletter here, it's not because the adjustment healed her. It's because the adjustment removed the interference, and her brain was now able to. She was able to be that natural state of health that she was created to be. That's what did it. Okay, it's not because the adjustment heals. It's not because the food heals. It's not because the exercise heals or any of that. It's because your brain, your body heals. Life heals. Life is what's healing. Okay? Because, right, we could have, if we take a dead person here, we can do all these same things that we just did with Beth. That dead person does not heal. It's life that heals. Life heals. And so here's the awesome thing you guys have to realize, is that life is all or none, right? You're either alive or you're dead. Does that make sense? You're either alive or you're dead. The expression of life inside your body is not all or none. Does that make sense? So you're either alive or you're dead, but the expression of that life in every part of your tissue, that is what can be reduced. That is not all or none. Does that make sense? So that the good news is that as long as there's still life inside of you, you can get better.
There's hope.
And there's hope, that's right. As long as there's life inside you, as long as you're breathing and you're able to do that, there's a chance for you to get better and improve. You can do that. You can be better. So that's the awesome thing. That's the hope for you that you can always have. It doesn't matter how bad it is. As long as there's breath inside you, you can heal. So if you're wondering, you know, how do I know if I have something like this going on? Well, there are some warning signs. So headaches. Well, if the nerves are being blocked going up into the head, what are you supposed to get? Headaches. Yeah, you get headaches all the time. And so menstrual problems. If the nerves are blocked going out to the reproductive organs and the hormones, places controlling the hormones there, you can get menstrual problems. High blood pressure. There's a study done comparing actually chiropractic, and what they did is they adjusted just this upper cervical bone. That one bone is the only thing adjusted, and they found that reduced blood pressure better than 2 medications in combination. 2 blood pressure medications in combination. An average of 17 points dropped. So you can poison yourself with the blood pressure medications and defy the intelligence of the body, or you can work with the natural design, remove the interference, let your body restore health. Depression, and insomnia, so all those serotonin centers and stuff, they're right up top here, right? So when we see 1 in 5 Americans taking antidepressants right now, they can keep taking those poisonous drugs and then go to the mall and shoot up your kids, or we can tell them the truth and we can start to get to the cause and we can save their life. Sciatic, low back pain, most people know that stuff. Dizziness, your balance centers are all up here in your ears and everything. So the nerves that come back up into there are coming from the upper cervical here. Okay. Fatigue, your energy levels, acid reflux. If you block the nerve going into the stomach, right, you can take a purple pill and mask the symptom and let the cause get worse, or you can get to the source of the problem and remove the interference. Asthma, I see people come off their inhalers all the time. Kids doing better with their asthma, able to breathe better, able to be more active, and not need those things. So vitamin D3 as well. So this is a huge one as well. It's your sunshine vitamin, right? So we're coming into summer here. We're going to be getting a little bit more sunshine, but this is an essential one. They found out that somewhere around 75% of cancers, it's estimated, can be completely eliminated by having, and prevented by having proper vitamin D levels. It possesses anti-inflammatory properties that combat diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. It's going to enhance your bone and muscle strength. So this is honestly one of your cheapest ways that you can enhance your health by optimizing your vitamin D levels. It is such an affordable vitamin, but its potency and its power is so huge. So, you know, there's a lot of different vitamin Ds out there, but we couldn't really find a good one, so we made our own that had all the properties. So one thing that you need to find out is you need to make sure it's not from a synthetic source, it's from a whole food source. Okay, not a synthetic source, it needs to be from a whole food source. The other thing is the amount that you're getting, okay? The RDA for vitamin D3 is about 400 units, okay? That's what it takes to beat rickets, okay? When was the last time you saw somebody with rickets? Yeah, it's not too common. So that's what it takes to beat rickets, but there's this whole gamut of other things that you're missing when you're only getting that amount. So what we found now is that to hit the optimum levels in your blood, you actually need to be maintaining about 5,000 units a day, okay? It's 35 units times your body weight, okay? So average that out, it's about 5,000 units a day, just for maintenance. And then also in this one here, what we did then, we did all that, and then we combined it with probiotics, which will help with detoxification, and threw in a bunch of organic fruits and vegetables as well. So, all the resources are 10% off tonight. Don't miss the upcoming events. Make sure you get up here when you sign up for these events. We have the recipe night coming up June 16th. Get your name down right away. Reserve your spot here. And sign up for that. Remember, it's different. We're not bringing recipes. We're going to be showing you how to detoxify your house, make your own stuff, do it yourself type recipes. So it'll save you money, and you're going to improve your health. Okay. The other thing then is that we have our Max Life Call. If you've never been on one of these, it's really awesome. One of the co-founders of Maximize Living, or one of the main leaders of Maximize Living, is typically going to be running the phone call. It's going to be like the authors of the books that we have here. This is going to be fast, intense results. It's going to be fitness related, okay? So it's fitness related. So if you missed fitness stuff last month, then hop on this call. It's just hop on the call and you listen. So you don't have to do anything else. You listen to it anywhere you are. You don't have to go anywhere. You can be in your pajamas, whatever you want. So, yes, it's going to be in the morning. I think it'll be 9 o'clock our time. Yep. I believe that's a Thursday. Yep. So, on your cards here, it gives you the number that you do it. It says 10 a.m. Eastern. Remember, that's 9 o'clock our time. Okay. In the morning, you call this phone number here, 866, and then you're going to enter in the code, and you're on there. You just wait. And then the other thing that we have is another Patient Appreciation Day. So, how many made it in for Mother's Day, Patient Appreciation Day? Yeah, is that fun? Yeah. So those are really fun. So we're going to have another one of those coming up end of June. Another party coming up. We're going to be celebrating Independence Day and throwing a party for you guys. And it's really, too, it's a friends and family day. It's a chance for you guys to reach out to your friends and your families and get them in here. Because really, and that's the other thing is, you know, I need your help. Because who needs to really hear this information? You guys learn something tonight? Yeah. Who needs to hear this information?
Everybody.
Everybody needs to hear this information. Everybody. We look around. People in this world, in this country, are living destructive, dysfunctional lifestyles. And they've been lied to. They've put this false hope into a broken system that can't get anybody healthy. It doesn't work. It's sick care, not health care. And they think that that's the only answer. And because right now, you know, they've been lied to. They've been lied to. And I need your help to reach those people. Because right now, on the street that you live on, right now, there is a kid, ADD, ADHD, autism, seizures, asthmas, and the parents are lost. They're hopeless, right? They're looking for an answer. They're looking for direction, and they need your help to find the truth, right? Right now, people that sit next to you at work, there's somebody that sits next to you at work right now, headaches, sleep problems, depression, you know, they're stuck, and they've been told the only solution is another pill. They've been told the only solution is another pill. When you listen to if you've ever listened to prayer requests at your church, right? Almost every single one is about a health problem. disability, heart disease, cancer, you name it. And the only way those people hear the truth is if you open your mouth. That's the only way that they hear the truth, right? But if you don't tell them, what happens? What happens to them? They keep getting sicker. They keep taking their medications. They're still on their knees praying for an answer. You could be the person to fill in that gap. So, I mean, really, when you look at this, it's your moral and your ethical obligation to tell those people. It's your moral and ethical obligation. I mean, because I know it seems like a heavy burden, but I mean, most of you guys know the story about my dad, right? My dad died of cancer. He didn't feel anything, had some decreased energy levels, died, caught a bug. 2 weeks later, dead at age 45 with lymphoma. I'm the second oldest of 8 kids. 8 kids left growing up without their dad, getting married, starting families and careers, and dad wasn't there for any of it. You know, but if somebody could have reached my dad in time, he would have never gotten sick, he would have never gotten cancer, and 8 kids wouldn't have had to stand in the ICU and watch their dad take his last breath and die right in front of them. Just imagine if that was your dad there. What would you do to save him? You would do absolutely anything to save him. You would do absolutely anything to save him. So, I mean, I know it's a heavy burden, but, you know, so here it is, you know, we're sitting there, I'm saying, oh, man, I'm so tired, my head hurts and stuff. I was up last night, my kid had another seizure, you know, and you know that this office can help me. How much would you have to hate me not to tell me? Literally, how much would you have to hate? And so, you can be the person to fill in that gap and reach out and save that person. The only way we're going to save this world and this country is if it is with your help. It's the only way it's going to happen. Okay? And so, we give you opportunities all the time. We make it easy on you. We give you opportunities to reach out to those people. And so, the next thing we're doing, we have the dinners. How many of you, raise your hand if you've been to a dinner? Yeah, so are those fun? Those are fun, right? So, we make it easy on you. We just scheduled our next dinner. It's Monday, June 2nd at Woody's Grill here in town. You guys, so here's what you do. I want you to think of 3 people right now, okay? We're already thinking of people as I was talking right there, right? So think about those people. That's who you're gonna bring them to the dinner, okay? You bring them to the dinner, and I will buy them food, and I'm gonna tell them the same things, and then they get an opportunity to do something about it. They get an opportunity to do something about it, change their life, make a difference, okay? The only way that we're going to reach those people is with your help. That's the only way it's going to happen. It's the only way it's going to happen, okay? And I know a lot of you, too. I mean, you've already seen amazing results in your life already. You're off of medications, you've lost the weight, you're feeling better than you ever felt before, you have more energy, you're sleeping better. You know, you can tell a difference in your immune system already. Like, all these things, you can tell it's working in your life, right? And if it's been a good investment for you, don't you think the other person deserves that chance as well? To make that decision on their own, you know? And I know sometimes I hear from people, it's like, I'm not sure if they could afford this or if they even really want it or anything. That's not your decision. I mean, honestly, that's like the worst thing that you could do is make that decision for them. It's their health and it's their decision, right? That's up to them, not you. So, please don't try and make that decision for somebody. Let them make that decision, right? So I'm going to be around here. First of all, any questions at all about any of this?